All right, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to be going over how I find my daily bias every single day. All right, so the first thing I do when I'm looking for my daily bias is I'm looking at the weekly profiling and the daily profiling. So ideally, we're going to want to see an open high, low close. Let's say Monday opens, Tuesday comes higher, we sweep out the key level. Wednesday frames the reversal, and we expect the week to trade down after that. Or we see open, low, high close, which is just the opposite of this at a low. You can pair this with the weekly and the daily. I pair it with both. Ideally, you want to see weekly draws being hit and a reversal being framed paired by S&T at that weekly key level. And we could also do this on the daily. If we hit a 4-hour gap, put it in SMT, maybe a sequential SMT as well, and we trade away from it with the open high, low close. So this is just basically my draw on liquidity and how I frame a reversal to trade with my daily bias. So if we see price trading up towards a key level and we see it fail to manipulate that key level, we call that a failure swing, which is marked right here. Usually if we retrace off a failure swing, we put in an S&T at lows. Ideally, we put in a 2-stage and we get a 3-candle swing formation. And during this 3-candle swing formation, the first candle just closes normally. The second candle closes, but it sweeps the previous candle's low, closes back within the range. And the third candle is the expansion candle, which we expect to trade towards the highs. And ideally, on this third candle, which is the highest probability candle to trade, we put in our wick above 0.5 of the previous candle's range. I also pair drivers with my bias. So if we have an 8:30 red news, ideally I want to see what news does, if news continues, if news manipulates. But this is what I see most oftentimes. We'll see 8:30 news wick up into a key level. We'll sweep it, ideally paired with an SMT. And then you expect 9:30 driver, 9:30 open to expand down after 8:30 has already done the manipulation pre-driver. All right, now let's find some examples on TradeZella. So first off, I'm going to check the weekly time frame, see what our week is doing. So it looks like our week is opening high. We haven't really formed our wick for lower. So it looks like our weekly wants to come hit this key level before we decide to retrace. Let's check the 6-hour to see what the sessions have done. All right, so we open high. We come lower. Do we have an SMT at a key level? We are in a 6-hour gap, and we're currently trading without an SMT. We have an SMT at this swing low in the gap. Let's check the 4-hour, same low. Let's check the 1-hour, see how we displaced away from that SMT. So we're kind of getting pretty bad displacement away from that S&T. All this low time frame consolidation is all right. I could see this being a PO3 day, which means we consolidate, we manipulate and put an S&T, and then we end up reversing back to the highs. Also have an hourly CISD, but let's see what open does. Ideally, we trade higher. All right, there we put in another S&T. And there we do end up trading higher to the first draw. All right, let's check the next day. All right, weekly. We've still yet to hit the weekly high on all 3 assets. We are kind of framing a reversal with this SMT, but it is a failure swing, so ideally I want us to see it come up and take this high on any asset. Let's check the 6-hour, see what the sessions have done. It looks like so Asia opens low. London kind of puts in a reversal candle, so maybe we could expect New York to continue. All right, let's check. All right, so on the 4-hour here, it looks like we kind of put in a reversal candle right here. We didn't really trade into a key level, but we are kind of framing a reversal back towards these highs. Let's check the 4 hour. No gaps. We've not printed a reversal inside of a gap. I do like this V shape, and we have printed continuation CISD. So we may come back and tap daily open off open. Check the 30-minute as well, see if we're printing gaps. SMT anywhere. No key level SMT. We might end up SMTing this and continuing higher. I wouldn't really mind that, but it would be a failure swing to this low. So we do put in that SMT off open and continue straight to the draw. All right, let's sim to the next day. All right, daily. We had that swing formation, C1, C2, C3, but the C2 is already expanded, so we might not be able to catch the C3 up. Maybe we could trade YM to break this SMT at this high because it doesn't look like we're going to reverse off of it. Let's check the 6 hour, see what the sessions have done. All 3 sessions have expanded so far. Ideally, we don't want to see that. We could print a 2-stage PSP right here. We have a crack right here with our own low a day. It's a 2-stage PSP. Let's check the 4 hour. Four-hour looks decent for longs. The 1 hour is just expanding as well. YM is printing these low time frame signatures, which I don't really like. So maybe we can anticipate YM to hit this low. Maybe we get NQES to consolidate when we trade YM all the way up to this high. But if not, we'll probably dump down to the 4 hour gaps. It is a little far, so I don't anticipate us to hit this today. This day looks pretty bad to me in my opinion, but let's see what open does. So we do get the strength switch with YM and it ends up taking the first draw. Let's see if it comes back to the second draw. So we end up dumping off of this SMT break here. And basically that's exactly how I find my daily bias, powered by driver pairing, ideal reversals, and expansion candles. And